Well, welcome to the Well Wave Now show. This is our backstory series, and we have the privilege of speaking with Dr. Star Zakian, a PharmD, and also a professor of pharmacy. So excited to have you on and hear more about your background as we are preparing to have you on the Well Wave Now show. Dr. Star, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Greg. So happy to be with you and Tim today's looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, it's excellent to have you on. We always love to, before we jump into your career, we kind of like to learn more about you and where you grew up, where you came from, and what was it like?
Oh, goodness. That's a great question to start with. So I was born in Armenia, which is a country somewhere near Russia, Iran, Turkey, that area. I was about 10 when my family moved to America. So I could say pretty much my, middle and adult life I've been in America. And I am one of four sisters in my family, being the oldest. And so I can say that I had the total older child responsibilities and personality that you can imagine. Growing up, I have to say I was so fortunate to be in a family that was so loving and supportive. And so I always say I grew up in a bubble, which has helped me grow and develop into who I am.
So what was it like and what do you remember of Armenia, if anything, before, pre-10? And then what was your transition like to the US for yourself? Where'd you end up in the US to start?
Yeah.
Sure. What I remember from living in Armenia is, at the time, living with my parents, it was like a small apartment building that we had. The apartment building had a lot of kids outside. And this is something in those countries where the kids go outside and play in the afternoons all the way until nighttime. So there was a lot of freedom in walking to school and coming back from school, a lot of autonomy. And those were some of the fond memories that I had, just like literally being a kid and just coming home and just, being in my home environment and then waking up and doing the same thing again. So those are some of my fond memories.
The second part of that question that Tim asked was, where did you move to? Did you move right directly to Los Angeles, or where did you move to here in the United States?
Yes, actually, we moved right in the heart center of Los Angeles in Hollywood. And the reason we did that is because my extended family was already living in Los Angeles. So when we came here, we had family, uncles, aunts, grandparents here. So, excuse me. So we moved there to Hollywood. That's where we settled in the first 10 years of our stay here in the States.
So how come you didn't become an actress then? You were right there in Hollywood.
Well, in our culture, you want to either become a doctor, a pharmacist, a dentist, a lawyer. Being an
Yeah.
actor is not one of those options.
I understand. So who do you think influenced you most in your life? Was it someone in your family or was it someone else?
I always say this that in my life, since I was a kid, even until now, my mom has been the person who has not only been a guiding light, but also a support system, a person who embodies courage, a person who embodies taking risks, a person who embodies loving unconditionally, not just to her family, but just whoever that she interacts with. My mom. I want to say my parents because I love both of them. There is no shame or anything on my dad. Love him to death, but my mom has been my guiding light.
Right. And then now back to something else you just alluded to also is that had tons of family around in Armenia when you came. So any family traditions that carry forward now?
So, one of the traditions I would say, and my mom was very key on this as well, is every weekend we had to get together. Doesn't matter what you're doing, what obligations you have, if the kids have tests, if the adults have anything. Once a week, everybody had to get together. And I'm talking about like a 5, 6 course homemade meal, getting together, talking, not using, paper plates or plastic plates, everything from scratch, just laughing, enjoying each other. And I did notice that it wasn't easy. Usually my mom would do most of the hosting. Like the next day she would get a headache and be exhausted. But the same thing would repeat every single weekend. And I have to say, this tradition has still stayed. And so every weekend we get together. Sometimes we're so tired, we're overstretched with our responsibilities and other commitments, but We make sure that we nourish this family bond relationship and showing up for each other. So just being there with each other.
Well, that's an amazing tradition. I really love that. Were you involved growing up in any sports or music, or what was your extracurricular activities growing up?
So I love playing. Any kind of playing you can imagine, I love. I love creating games. I love creating opportunities. I love creating roles. So since I was a kid, I was very creative about creation of games. So, other than that outside playing and creation, I've loved to dance. I've taken a lot of dance classes. So, Latin dancing, ballroom dancing have been my favorites. Sports wise, you may or you may not know, I am 6'2". So I'm one of the taller women that exist, especially in the Armenian community. So basketball wasn't my thing, but volleyball was. So
Okay.
and I was surprised why my height was being so valued. I'm like, I'm not that great of a player, but everybody seems to love having me on their team. But now I see why.
So were you good?
I was actually, but not like crazy good. So I played in high school. I didn't continue like in college or anything, but I was good, but I wasn't that good. So let's put it that way. I was better in dancing.
And you still dance today?
I still dance today, not as often as I wish, as you can imagine, as we are lifing along with other responsibilities. But every opportunity that I do get, I love to dance. So it's one of my favorites.
Was it hard to find a partner to match with you being so tall?
Well, Brooke, you're hitting a very sore spot here. Yes, yes. And so that was something that I needed to accept as I would take these dance classes. And to my surprise, every time, most of the guys who would show up, they were completely okay with being with a woman who is taller. Now, did I wish I always had a tall partner? Yes. Did I always get a tall partner? No. And so I learned to, as kind of like accept it and still lean into that leading role that the man has in this kind of dance. So it worked out. Yeah. You
Yeah.
give some, you take some.
You needed to go professional and be on Dancing with the Stars. They always bring in these basketball players and stuff that tower over their coaches, and they needed you.
I love that.
Well, we want to get into now your professional career side, and you mentioned that, growing up Armenian, you knew you needed to be something in the medical field, whether it's a pharmacist, a doctor, a dentist, something in the medical. So did you always know you wanted to be a pharmacist, or when did that inspiration come to you?
As we all do growing up, you're wondering, what am I going to do to earn a living when I grow up? So many times growing up, to me, a profession was about earning a living. And so with earning a living, you want to also do something that you enjoy. I kept my options open going into my bachelorette degree by trying different things. Yes, the family and our society always puts these other professions, as I mentioned, at a higher pedestal. But I wanted to definitely do something that I can do every day. I just didn't want to do something that wasn't going to work for me. By keeping my options open toward my third year of getting my bachelor's, I took this one class in pharmacology, and that was my turning point. Like every single word in that class, I would just soak it in, just understanding how our bodies work, how these pharmaceuticals and neurotransmitters and hormones and everything interact, and how we can treat and alleviate illnesses and pain and suffering and all of those. So when I took that class, I'm like, what do I do with this? Do I take this and go into research? Do I take this into going into pharmacy school, etc.? So after further evaluation, pharmacy school was the option for me that I decided. And I pursued my higher education in the pharmacy school area. So I went to pharmacy school.
You did pharmacy school right there at USC?
I sure did. So
Yeah.
I went to UCLA for my undergrad and I went to USC for my pharmacy school. And as you may know, those colleges are always at work competing with the sports games. So, yes, I did go to USC for my pharmacy school.
And I've come to understand now that the pharmacy is actually kind of broad, and there's a lot of things that can be done underneath that umbrella. And plus, you've got a lot of interest. So, well, what would you call the essence of your kind of wellness work today, and what do you personally get out of it?
So I love your question, Tim, and I'm going to take two steps back because while in pharmacy school, since we're talking about the school aspect of it, I was trying to see like where will I fit in with my strengths and what I want to offer and what I want to do every single day during the weekdays. So working in a retail setting, working in a hospital setting really strengthened my clinical skills. But it wasn't until when I discovered there is an avenue of managed care where a pharmacist can go and use their clinical skills in combination with administrative skills, because I do enjoy working with multidisciplinary teams as well, to develop programs that can help members and population at large. So after pharmacy school, I pursued a career in the healthcare industry in the insurance company, where I did things as such, where I was working on programs for our members, our patients, to provide access to medications that they needed. But with that, as I was doing that in parallel, I always enjoyed that one on one interaction with the patients. I always enjoy a one on one interaction with students as I would go and teach. So I had this parallel life for a very long time where I would teach, I would see patients doing my per diem pharmacy job, and I would do this population health related job where I would work at the health insurance company. And as two of these things were going in parallel, many things happen in life, and we can definitely dive into it afterwards. I discovered a niche where I can actually work with more focused intention with women, especially who are going through menopause, and get them in this avenue of wellness, of health, and living joyfully and living with purpose, and etc. So with the multiple different parallel lives that I had, it has led me now into this path, which we can definitely go into, of educating and working with midlife women in the avenue of wellness and thriving and succeeding and having an amazing time in their second stage of life in menopause.
But then what do you get out of that work?
Oh, part of it is selfish, I have to say, because whatever I do and I give, I get 100 times more in return. Because intrinsically, since I was a kid and even now, I am a very curious person. I always am curious, what is this human experience like? And how can we make this human experience more fulfilling and more peaceful and more filled with happiness and freedom and joy? So when I work with women, it's almost like I get that in return as well when I see their transformation. So part of it is selfish, and part of it is also I feel like I have gifts that I can give because I have done the transformational work on myself over the last 10 years. I feel like it would be selfish not to give it. It would be selfish not to share it. And so it's like this two-way thing that happens where as I give, I feel better. And as I see it, everybody like wins in that game. So it's a win-win situation.
Absolutely. Dr. Starr, you seem so positive. I doubt you ever have any challenging days, but if you do have a challenging day, what motivates you to just keep going?
I love that question, Bryce. Challenges are part of every single day life. And I love seeking wisdom from ancient philosophers, etc. And one of the quotes that I really like is that we don't ask the God or universe to take the challenge away from us. We ask for the tools and the skills to overcome them. Every time there is a challenge that shows up, and it's an everyday process, what really helps me, and this is my secret that I don't think it's mine alone, but it works so effectively, is number one, slow down. That means like I'm going too fast, there's too much happening, slow down. The second thing I do, Greg, is I lean inside. I lean in me to feel and hear what is actually happening, because there is this very strong inner wisdom that we have inside of us. As I lean in, I listen to what's going on. I listen to my fears. I listen to my thoughts. I listen to whatever my body is going through. And from that point on, I have accepted that I can only do the next best thing and then the next best thing. And it's not about knowing exactly how things are going to turn out, because sometimes, and most of the times, they turn out better than we expected. So slowing down, leaning in, listening, and then doing the next best thing. And that's all we do.
Love, I love that. Yeah, that's great.
Now, do you have a dream goal or project for yourself?
My dream goal and project would be to integrate that playfulness that I have inside, where I develop workshops and people show up. It could be a women's only, it could be couples, it could be anybody, where we are in this big space, devoting a certain portion of our time, whether it's a half a day, a full day, even a few days of a retreat program, where I actually put together workshops for people to really tune in and do activities that connect themselves to themselves. And afterwards, they just get fully rejuvenated, reconnected, repurposed, and they go back in their lives and see changes happen in their lives. That is like one of my passion projects, to actually develop these workshops with this a lot of people in different arenas. So it could be women only, like I said, it could be couples who wants to reignite their relationships, because I love relationships. I love learning everything about relationships. And so that would be it, Tim. And I'll definitely send you an invite when it's happening if you're interested to
There we
come.
go.
Yeah, we'd love to be there.
Absolutely.
For this next segment here, this is kind of the fun facts about you, and it's rapid fire, are super easy questions. Don't stress. But are you more than an early bird or a night owl?
Early bird. I wake up early.
Okay. And do you prefer the mountains or the beach?
The beach any day.
Yeah, you're right there in LA area. You've got a lot of beaches to go to. And do you prefer coffee, tea, or something else?
Depends. Morning, it's coffee. Relaxation at night, a nice herbal tea.
Okay,
Depends.
excellent. Well, we sure appreciate you coming on and letting us get to know you a little better. We look forward to having you on the Well Wave Now podcast, and so excited to get more into depth of your experience and your expertise and how you can help women through menopause and preparing for that change in their life. And that's going to be such an amazing interview to have you back on the Well Wave Now podcast. For everyone listening at home, please join the wellness community. Our wellness community is the Wellness Circle on Facebook, and that way you can connect with Dr. Starr and other really knowledgeable healthcare professionals that we have in that community. And always remember, wellness, it's in you.